No worries. How you guys doing? My name is Stanley Fritz. I'm the New York State Political Campaigns Director at Citizen Action of New York. So, my guy Jumaani's running for governor. We're behind him 100%, right? So here's an interesting thing I've been thinking about. 2 years ago, as Joe Biden was wrapping up his run for president, he met with a bunch of billionaires and millionaires, and he said, once I'm elected, nothing will fundamentally change. He said that after using the campaign slogan that pretty much picked up on most of the language from the Occupy Wall Street movement. He talked about how the 99% was suffering and the top 1% were benefiting from all kinds of breaks and opportunities. And then he got into office and he kept his promise to those billionaires and millionaires. Nothing has fundamentally changed. After promising to seriously look at student loan forgiveness, he has pretty much tossed that aside. After saying that we were going to prioritize working families and pass a bill like Build Back Better, it's been held hostage by folks like Joe Manchin. And while that's happening at the federal level, in New York City, we are facing a political landscape where there's true harm happening in our communities. People feel unsafe. And the folks who should be responsibly pitching solutions are instead carrying the talking points of the Gestapo, also known as the NYPD. And while that's happening in New York City, at the state level, Kathy Hochul is fighting very hard to bring us back to normal. In 2020, when Joe Biden said that he would not fundamentally change anything, we really couldn't do much because it was Biden or the Gestapo. And I don't think many of us wanted Trump or any of the Nazis in the White House to stay in power. So we went with Biden. And Biden has done an okay job, but it's pretty clear he has not gone far enough. And now in New York State, our governor, Governor Hochul, wants to go back to normal, even though the last 2.5 years has showed us normal absolutely does not exist anymore. The world is not normal when the air you breathe inside of your home could make you sick. The world is not normal when there are so many homeless people, they're picking up residency in the train stations and on subway carts. The world is not normal when thousands of New Yorkers are applying for rent relief in a program that doesn't have any funding. The world is absolutely not normal when we are seeing an influx of illegal guns coming into our community. We are seeing an increase in poverty. We are seeing an increase in homelessness. More New Yorkers cannot afford their homes from East New York, Brooklyn to East Buffalo. But the answer to that is to get more police, get more guns, get more surveillance, and cut budgets. And that's why, for this very irregular moment and this very not normal moment, we need somebody who is ready to step into a new reality. And that's why Jumaane Williams is going to be the governor of New York State. Because he knows normal is over. If you care about communities, whether it's your community, your neighborhood, your friends, your family, or the person who is struggling that you will never meet, if you want New York to improve, you have to embrace the fact that we have gone past the days when things can be just the way they are. We can't play sports with politics. We can't say we're going to do big things and then move small pieces that help a handful of people and leave everyone else hungry, desperate, lonely, and without answers. The fact of the matter is, at the federal, state, and city level, a lot of people have lost hope in the government process and our elected officials, because they don't see themselves in those leaders. And if we're being honest, I don't think many of those leaders see themselves in us. Jumaane Williams represents a regular New Yorker, someone who has gone to the city university system, someone who has had a working class job, someone who has struggled to pay bills, someone who has not been perfect, someone who will tell you he is not perfect, someone who will mess up real soon and acknowledge that. He represents what we need more of in politics. Less ego, less talking points, less perfectly framing the language in a way that will make the progressive swoon, and more action. More willingness to see that person who's struggling and say, we've got to get you some food, a home, and some help, and not say we've got to arrest that person. More talking about the neighborhood he came from, and then when you get to the Capitol, having conversations with elected officials about how we help them, and not talking to billionaires and millionaires and saying, I promise I won't raise your taxes, come back home. Yep. The billionaires are here. They're comfortable. The millionaires are here. They're comfortable. But that kid who's sitting right now in East New York, Brooklyn, like I always say, where I come from, that kid who's struggling in Troy, New York, that family who can't make ends meet in Central New York, in Utica, and in Rome, normal has destroyed their lives. They want to see someone who looks like them, who sounds like them, who understands them. And at Citizen Action of New York and the Working Families Party, we are fighting for the everyday person, because the everyday person can make the extraordinary change. And that's why we're proud to endorse Jumaane Williams for governor. Thank you.